Welcome everyone to the Aura Fury podcast. We're really excited to bring back for the first time. We're actually bringing back some guests that we've had before, but then we've brought in some new friends with them to come in and talk about Aura Fury's favorite game, Vintage Story. We're really fortunate that they will be joining us, and we've been looking forward to this one quite a bit, and we had a lot of trouble actually writing the questions at first because it wasn't so much of coming up with all the questions this time. It was the fact that we had so many and then had to trim it down to the ones that we felt would be best for the podcast. So really quick, get into some introductions here. Of course, I'm Jacob. You're used to me seeing here as one of your hosts, and I'm the current president of Aura Fury.
Hi, I'm Ram Girl back here for hosting another Vintage Story podcast once again. So nice to be back.
Woo! I am DuarArts. I'm the concept artist for Vintage Story. Been here for I guess like 2 years at this point. But it's always great. I guess someone else now.
Hi, Hayden Davenport, also known as lo-phi lo-phi. Yeah, I guess I've been on the Vintage Story team for 10 years, roughly. We'll get into that later, I'm sure.
And me. So, I am Balduranne, but normally I just have everyone call me Anna, which is my name, because that's just so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been with Vintage Story for I think 6 years now, give or take. Yeah, and I work on models, textures, stuff like that.
Awesome. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for all of you joining us. So for our first question, we had what inspired you to join the Vintage Story team and how did you end up in your current role? This can go to anyone that wants to start.
I guess I'll start. I think I forgot
Oh.
to say it. So I'm the composer for the game. Um, I think I guess I was the first person to join the team outside of Tyrant and Sarati, in like a permanent capacity. Um, I basically joined via cold contact on the TIG source forums, also known as the indie game forums. Uh, and he just posted something in he posted a blog post about the game just as a devlog entry. Um, and no one was really talking on it. He had like 4 or 5 posts in a row, and I just was looking at the screenshots that he posted, and I really liked the at the time one of the first things he had implemented that like really stuck out to me was the colored torches. I just thought that was really cool. I was like, I don't know, it looked awesome, and the game looked really promising to me, even though it was super early in development. And so I just reached out and I was like, hey, I write music. I'm looking for a project and I would love to work on this game. It looks super fun. And I don't know, just we talked back first. He was like, I don't know if we want to do this yet. And I don't know, we talked more and we got along well. And he was like, you know what, let's try to make this work. And yeah, that's how it started. Like I said, about 10 years ago. And it's wild to think back to then because I remember um, there was no audience for the game, and I don't even think we had a Discord yet. Um, but yeah, I'll let the next person go.
Okay. So I had like a very different experience with mine is a very strange story. So we have to go on a little journey together. When I first heard of Vintage Story, it was through a friend that was working in the game at the time. That was like around 2018. I really got into it. I ended up making textures and models for it, just like for funsies. I couldn't really code, so I joined forces to try modding with Tony Liberato, who was an older member of the community. I was a bit of an ass to him and ended up going my own way, but Tyron reached out to me and asked me if like I would like to work on the game, and I said, yeah, sure. So I started with making armor models, like new clothing sets, and a year or two passes, and Tyron asks me, "Hey, do you remember me reaching out to you on DeviantArt?" As soon as he says that, my blood runs cold. So I look back into my account, and sure enough, there's a message from a certain Tyron dated several years prior, asking if I'd like to work on the game with him. I gruffly declined at the time because the screenshot he had just looked like a Minecraft clone, just like flat grass, and that's it.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I shot him down first, and then just obliviously wandered into the Discord and got hired. So I like to call it my secret shame, and now it's out in the public.
Oh god,
That's amazing to hear DeviantArt though, because nobody uses the chat function or the messaging function on DeviantArt because it is so janky, and that's where he messaged you. That's amazing.
To be fair,
the
like
fact that he said it.
to be fair, that was like 10 years ago, but it was still pretty bad. And
Yeah, it's
and
just a Minecraft clone.
Yeah,
It just
right.
looks like it.
to be fair,
mean, we
at that
all-
point, I had yeah. To be fair, at that point, I actually had like many situations where I had people message me, and I wanted to work on a game, and I asked them like, okay, do you have like a design doc or something about the game? And they were like, no, I have an idea. Yeah, but luckily Tyra is pretty thick-skinned, and it worked out in the end.
Oh god, that's funny. Mine is a lot more simpler than that. Essentially, I was in 2023. I decided to get my friends into playing Vintage Story. I've been playing it for like, like a year at that point, right? And very fun. So my friend and I decided to kind of start making a mod of like a creature and stuff. And I decided to make the little concepts for it, and I posted it on what was it? On the Discord under fan art and stories. Uh, didn't think too much of it, and kind of just doing my own thing. 2 months later, Tyron just sent me the message and the reply to me saying like, "Oh, very interesting. I only noticed it now. Do you have concept? Do you do concept art professionally? Well, how convenient." So it honestly just went on from there. And I decided the first task was to create the story excerpt illustrations for the morning. I did that, and it was like, oh wow, those are pretty cool. Yeah, might as well might as well start working for it all at that point. So yeah, it's really quick, simple, and out of nowhere. Let's see, never would have expected to be doing this, but I'm glad that it happened.
It's
I
pretty
like all
cool.
these different backgrounds where you just, some people it's a forum, some people it's DeviantArt, and then some it's actually the official Discord. So that's actually pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's awesome
And
how
talking
like little
about like the
connections go through like that and end up leading
Mhm.
to actual jobs in this case, but for others that friends and things that you meet throughout the entire world and ends up making a big difference. I mean, like one of our best friends that exists today is that we met through basically a vintage story server that we hang
Wow.
out through. So he's a board member on Aura Fury Plexus. If it wasn't for that kind of like fleeting moment, they wouldn't be as big of a part of Aura Fury, and we wouldn't have picked up one of our best friends. So
Oh,
it's really neat how all that kind of stuff works.
a lot of cool things can happen in the community.
Chance encounters, they call that.
Yeah.
Well, because the problem we have with some of the games that we do is usually it's a friend through a friend through a friend type of situation. And that was what his was that he was playing a game with friends, and those friends joined us, and then by proxy he joined them, and it just kind of like, yeah, kind of reaching across several different friend groups to make that happen. But Vintage Story's been complimented on its art style a lot. Whenever we demo it at conventions and stuff, we always have people that come in and just say, it's pretty, where Minecraft is very much not as pretty as a lot of people would compliment it as. So the art style and the game atmosphere have caught a lot of people. So how would you describe the game's artistic and atmospheric vision from your perspective to someone who has never seen any gameplay of Vintage Story whatsoever?
I can start with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pretty often because I live in let's say medium-sized town in Canada, and people often ask me like, what do I do? So I have to give them the elevator pitch. And what I usually start with like, okay, do you know Minecraft? It's similar but more complex. And then as I explain, like usually what I say is that it's a peculiar mix of cozy homesteading and survival horror.
It's got
Yeah,
a tour.
Cottage horror. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that is good.
Well, that's
I guess
go on.
my answer is pretty simple. I think I would just describe it as superficially cozy with very dark depths to discover. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, it definitely depends. Since the game has multiple modes, some people choose to engage with it in a way where they never have to experience any of the creepy horror stuff.
Mhm.
And some people that's
Mm-hmm.
like all they're there for.
It's nice having that was it the choice on whether or not you want to deal with those things. And it's nice having that variety, but how I would describe it, hmm, it's hard not to mention Minecraft, but it's widely recognizable once you hear like, oh, it's like Minecraft. Well, I guess, but there's a lot more to it. It's definitely a different take on voxel-based survival, but in terms of theming, it's more so like a medieval Silent Hill at that
Mhm.
point, you know, it's a little bit
Ugh.
steampunky, but those are kind of like the core inspirations of pretty much. It's like survival Silent Hill with like voxels, I guess, and some homesteady cozy vibes, but especially the horrors that come with it. Let's see.
Yeah, if I can actually comment on that,
Hmm.
Silent Hill is a big inspiration for everyone in the team.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's funny with the
Really?
coast. Hmm. And now I feel like I shouldn't have said that, but
Well, it's
no,
okay.
I joke. I think we're pretty open about that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like primarily like we want to focus on like the medieval and the horror aspect of it, and I feel like the cottagecore is kind of like a byproduct almost
Hmm.
because we focus on the survival aspect, and then a lot of people are into that, including like Sarity, and it's yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like it's a byproduct, but like also one that we actively encourage and build towards because it's fun for us as well.
That's really interesting.
So the being inspired by Silent Hill part would actually be terrifying for me if I had never seen even a second of vintage story and people are like, "Do you like Silent Hill?" I'd be like, "No." No, I do not like Silent Hill. So mixing in the cozy survival aspect of it and then saying that the horror side of it is like is Silent Hill inspired. I guess I've never really thought about it, but yeah, because it's that subtle like horror, not like in your face, like
Hmm.
kind of like how Resident Evil is very in your face about its
Oh
horror.
yeah.
And I guess now that you're really saying that it's like Silent Hill, I'm like, well, I mean, I've seen enough Silent Hill to like the jump scares are not necessarily massive. It's more of like the constant unnerving uneasiness that you have in the
Hmm.
background. So yeah,
Well,
I
at
could see
least in
it.
vintage,
I don't know if I'd use that to describe it though.
well, at least in vintage story you have a map.
True. You do
True.
have a map.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
You
It
do.
actually wasn't until like more recent
All right.
updates that I would have
Uh,
considered it to be very horror-esque, because a lot of the recent creatures in the past few updates is what have really started to make it a lot creepier for me. Because when I first started, we started back
Mhm.
in
Hmm.
1.13, and yeah, it was definitely mm, very cozy back then. And it wasn't until you were like going
mhm.
underground or if there was like a temporal storm that you really got the really creepy vibe
Hmm.
going on it.
All you had to worry
Yeah,
about were drifters.
yeah, there's a reason on that, but like I can talk about that
Oh,
in the next
we can.
question, actually.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, from there, what was the biggest challenge you faced on working on, a game of this scale that has, this big of a following that's gotten this far for development, and, for some of you, 10 years.
Yeah.
What challenges have you come across?
So yeah, like I alluded with the previous question. One for me personally, it's just like the sheer scope. And one problem is that like we kind of have to do everything at once in a way. Uh, because okay, like one thing is first we have to build the actual survival part of the game, like the gameplay, right? But also we have
Mhm.
the story element, which is story that we really want to have. And part of the reason we have more like the horror slash story elements more pronounced is because we actually want to like make it clear that that's what we want in the game sooner rather than later, so it's not like a system shock later. I mean, a shock to the system, not system shock to the game, to be clear. Yeah, so those were supposed to be from the get-go, as far as I know, at least. I can't talk before I joined. Yeah, the thing is, like, there's only like so many things we can work on at the time.
There's so many ideas,
Yeah.
a lot of things we would love to do, but also it's like trying to balance, okay, what do we need to focus on
Mm-hmm.
right now, essentially? Like, do we gotta focus on was it game mechanics, or do we want to work on story things? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are talking about X thing, but also we have to focus on Y as well, and it's trying to balance how much work we can do without like crunching, rushing things, and it's gonna take a while, but I could definitely there's a lot. There's just a lot to do, but we're passionate. I would definitely say I'm all for it
Yeah, I
though.
think
Mm-hmm.
along the lines of I guess like doing everything at once. We understand that there's a lot of different ways to play this game and engage with it. And for like kind of like I was talking about earlier, the game can be very cozy and we understand some players only want those aspects of the game. And so there's definitely tons of ideas that move the game in that direction. And obviously there's the horror stuff and there's tons of ideas that move the game in that direction. And we kind of want to keep them to some degree separated, or at least we want to support all the different ways of playing the game and we want to do it in ways where you don't necessarily have to engage with one or the other if you don't want to. So that's definitely a big challenge because as the community's grown, more and more different ways to play the game have come about, and supporting them all definitely does feel like juggling different tasks. And I know for our story writer, there's lots of he has to deal with when we bring in new ideas, how does he make sure everything's consistent with the story? How do we make sure that everything feels right from all these different players' perspectives? And I guess going back to well, I guess this is my personal answer to your question.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, because when I joined, the team is three people. Um,
Mhm.
as the team has grown, it's been difficult for me just because I'm not necessarily introverted, but I'm very shy. And so I work best with very, very small teams, not because I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone who's joined the team, I like a lot. We have really, really amazing people in this team, but it's just
Mhm.
when there's a large group of people, I tend to not speak much. I'm more of a listener
Yeah.
than a talker. So I think my personal struggle throughout all of this has just been how do I, how do I within this team, given the fact that I'm very quiet and I like to listen more than talk, and there are so many people around me with all these great ideas, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
maybe I'll just kind of sit in the corner and do my own little thing. Yeah, that's just been my challenge with it.
Yeah, and to also like add to what Hayden said, my personal challenge with it is also like mental health. Because like what I mentioned before, that's more like the global problem we have. But for me, more on a more personal note, is like I struggle with anxiety for among other things. So yeah, for
Mhm.
me that's really tough to navigate.
What was it? That would definitely feel. But it's good to. I'm glad the team members, everyone are amazing. Was they're always good
Mhm.
to interact with and we all have that shared interest with the game, but also uh, being able to kind of share our knowledge and with our own uh, things that were our own interests, and possibly even have it in the game, or like having a say in that in our kind of expertise, I guess. Um, it's really nice because you don't really feel left out, but what was it? I with the team growing, there's definitely it's definitely a different environment from how it was at least when I started like 2 years ago, it was a little bit more smaller. Uh, but it was I could definitely agree with that. The more people, it just feels like it's a little bit more difficult to. Hmm. There's a lot of cool ideas, and I guess that's pretty much it. It's hard to focus on. Um,
Yes. There's
like,
so many good ideas. Everyone has amazing ideas. Just
mhm.
putting them in the game is certainly going to take a while.
Oh yeah, like for me, I definitely agree with like how there is a lot to do, and part of the challenging aspect I have is just like, oh, which one do I want to work on right now, or which one should I focus on? And oh, is it there's a lot of things to do, but also I really also want to do this one, but we have to focus on this, but also um what was it? There's a lot of cool things, a lot of candy, but I can't have too much of it. To put it simply.
That actually works out though, because technically the next question that's kind of in the roster here is how you collaborate to kind of figure out, between the art, the modeling, texture, sound, and stuff to make sure that you're staying on the path of this whole, the game as a whole unit, not just
Mhm.
focusing on one piece of it at a time. So, well, I guess what tips and tricks could you give people to make it like how do you collaborate? What little advices would you give to people trying to work with a team
Mhm.
like this?
Uh, um, I guess I have some interesting answers because I saw our progress from the very start. Because when we first started, there was almost no communication between each other than just like sharing cool things that we were working on. But
Mm-hmm.
as for like, or I would get a request for a specific music track, for example. But that was kind of the end of the conversation as far as making it all work together. And it took us quite a long time because I think a lot of us are either shy or introverted or just not that outspoken. It took us a long time
Mhm.
to finally realize, oh, we should probably be like meeting online and like talking about the things that we're working on. So it was probably a couple of years before we were like, oh, we should probably do like regular meetings. That might be helpful. And then there was also a point in time where we kind of realized, oh, we should probably like be documenting the things we talk about and like have ideas written down, um, and then archive somewhere where we can find it later. And then that eventually evolved into us having kind of like an internal database of our documentation or whatever. Um, and yeah, it took us a while before we realized that yeah, we were doing enough work and had enough ideas that if we weren't writing them down, if we weren't talking about them actively, they're just going to get lost forever. And coordinating definitely, um, yeah, just once we actually start talking to one another about the things we were working on, that made a huge difference. And then the other thing, um, what was it? Oh shoot, I can't remember. If I remember, someone can come back to me. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's a good start at
Yeah,
least.
I think honestly, I think I would like to give a lot of credit to Luke, who is our narrative lead and resident Renaissance man. Uh
Yep.
yeah, like even before the we have like we actually have a lot of backstory and visual theme guides to follow.
Hmm.
And that really helps like bringing it together as a vision. Like uh oh, I can't really give examples, but yeah, basically what we have in the game right now, like we even before the first story event, we had a lot of like narrative guidelines written. So when it is time to actually implement something, then we can like fall back on that and be like, okay, uh, it should look like this, or yeah,
Basically, actually having the book so we all could be on the same page, essentially. Like,
yeah, basically that.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
it's really important to have that because otherwise, it's yeah, like what Hayden said, like we'd all essentially become lost, and all the cool things that ideas and all the stuff would kind of end up being buried, all the discussions. So it is really good that we have that. It's made things so much more easier, but also communication is such a big thing. Uh, so meetings are
Yeah, I remembered also what I was going to say. I think more recently, as the team has gotten just a little bit bigger, we've kind of also realized that it's good to have task delegation, where there's some clarity on like who you should contact for which things, and also each like sub team within the game, there's like a leader of that sub team. So there's kind of like, I
Mhm.
guess you could think of it as like an art committee, and then the art committee has one person that everyone kind of reports to. And then that person, I mean, in this case, like the primary or
Mhm.
like the art lead would be Sarti. So Sarti has the final say on things, but at the same time, it doesn't feel hierarchical, really, at least not to me. Like it feels like our structure is very flat in terms of like everyone's ideas are considered, and I don't know, it feels to me like everyone can just say what's on their mind, and we can have discussions or even arguments about like the way the direction of various things can go, and it just feels like everyone's input is very valued. And I think that's really important when collaborating with a team, because um, if everyone isn't heard, or if people feel like they're not being heard, that can cause a lot of frustration, and then potentially even people leaving the team. But yeah, I've always felt Tyron and Sarti are both just really good at listening to everyone and really considering their thoughts. And that is
Mhm.
massive.
Exactly. Like talking about how things ended up like, oh, okay, well, we probably should have meetings. We probably should have documentation. There is, it feels like there's always trial and error in actually acting on those changes. Like, okay, here's a problem we have. Okay, we might as well do something about it and actually commit to it, which is very nice. Like, uh, it's definitely something that is crucial to actually having longevity with these projects, because otherwise, if you're just going to keep on doing the same thing over and over, something that isn't going to work, it's just going to add more resistance at that point.
There has definitely been a lot of trial and error. None of us like come from a super pro industry in terms of game design or whatever. So yeah, there have been tons of things over the years that we've tried and just haven't worked at all. We've definitely done like Trello sorts of systems, and basically it just doesn't get updated, and then it dies basically
Oh,
almost as
no.
soon as it starts. Um, so yeah, there's definitely a lot of just we recognize a problem, we try to solve it. Maybe that first solution doesn't work at all. We recognize the problem still, so we just take a different.
You muted.
Oh
There you
yeah,
go.
sorry, that was all I had to say. Yeah, that's right. I maybe didn't end it in a way that made that clear, but yeah, that's all I had to say about it.
Okay.
So, looking back, what moment or feature in Vintage Story are you most proud of contributing to, would you say?
Oof.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this is probably a tough one.
This one's for me. It's easy. Resonance Archives.
Yeah.
Um, I guess for me it's easy because like I had like an evil plot that the first story event would like revolve around audio or music in some way, and I don't want to put any spoilers beyond that. But yeah, for me, it's the Resonance Archives, because that was like um, many years ago, and it took I guess it took years to implement, but many years ago, me and a former concept designer slash concept artist worked basically on the initial concept. And I drew some. I'm a really bad drawer, but I drew some like really crappy sketches of just like this big um, cylinder and like a
Mhm.
hallway. And yeah, that's what I'm most proud of, because I think, especially after the idea got turned over to the team, they made it into so much more than I initially thought of, and just made it so much cooler. And then it like you can play through it, and it's just crazy to conceive that it turned into what it did, and players seem to really like it. So yeah, that's easily my
Oh
favorite
God.
contribution. And I mean, not that I mean, it's just like my contribution was just such a tiny fraction of what it became, but maybe that's why I'm so proud of it because or like proud of being a part of it because it just wound up being so much cooler than I had imagined.
Yeah,
Well,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
the
go on.
ambience in the archives is so good.
Mhm.
Like the ambient track that plays there.
It is such a massive hook for me personally.
Hmm.
Like first dealing with the Residence Archives, it's like, wow, this is actually possible. Like this is where the game's going, and like uh, there's potentially going to be more. Like you're telling me that there's an actual story going on, and
Mm-hmm.
it's actually done very well. It's crazy, and like almost every single time, like was it when a new player gets into the game, I'm always excited to see how they feel about the Resonance Archives because it's truly stunning. I it's very inspirational. Uh, and I'm really surprised that it was that you made the at least like not really started things, but like got the ball rolling, I guess, on that direction, right?
Yeah, I mean, it
You?
started. I mean, yeah, because I there was stuff. I guess at that time we had the bell in
Mm.
the game, and I wanted there to be a link. Well, I don't know to what extent I should say, say some of this, but let me think about it for a second. Yeah, I just wanted there to be a link between things that already existed in the game and the story. Um, and I also, I guess I had like this sci-fi idea to some degree, of of this thing where sounds could be recorded by echoing forever. Like imagine some sort of material that is in I guess a sphere or a cylinder. And if you have a sound and it's always echoing in the cylinder, just like bouncing around, what if you could like uh rehear that sound because it's always echoing, like it's always there bouncing around. That was my initial idea for the Resonance Archives, just like this thing where audio is bouncing around and there's tons of audio in this thing, and building a thing around that thing, um, because it's a place of importance, I guess. And yeah, that became a thing you could explore and discover things within. So that was kind of the initial idea, and
Mm.
it turned into so much more than that. But yeah, just some early sketches and talking with some people, and it eventually, through lots of hard work, became
Mm. So it's kind of like an echo
yeah,
chamber, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that might have been one
But
of the
not in
early
the
names for
obviously not in the literal sense though.
Well, it was having
the.
it's really cool.
No, you say that, but I think that was the early name for it.
I think that is the name like in the game, like the
Hmm.
ink echo chamber. You just walk up to it and be like and see it. It's it's
Hmm.
really crazy. But to kind of segue a little bit, I definitely have the same feeling that Hayden has. But it's for the 1.20 update because I actually was involved with it. With the was it the devastation, the mobs, all of that. Like it's it's crazy seeing like all that in the actual game. Like, oh wow, I helped him work on this, and it's like tons of people are seeing it, they're reacting to it, and I get to actually play through it, and I'm like looking at it, it's just like, oh, I remember how this used to look, or like, oh, I remember dueling itself like that. Like, it's really crazy how well it all came out. It was really fun working with like everyone making it. It's definitely I'm definitely proud of that specifically.
Definitely one of the coolest things about working with other people is you contribute like you're a part of it, and then you see that become, I guess, in a way
Mm-hmm.
greater than the sum of its parts because people realize, or yeah, once you finally decide on something, people help you and help everything. Everything just realizes its full potential because you got people who are really good at something that you may not necessarily be good at all. But you contribute your part, they contribute their part, and then it comes together in a way that's just so much
Hmm.
cooler than any one of us could have done by ourselves.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that nicely leads to my answer. I actually have two things that I'm really proud of, but one of the things is actually
Oh.
uh that was my initial answer, but then I thought about something else. Anyway, I'm really proud of like all the little clutter models that I've done. It kind of started with the Resonance archives, and since then I'm kind of the resident like clutter lord. Um, yeah, it's in isolation. It always feels like, oh, is this enough? Is this too basic or something? Like, just like I always have these self doubts, like that it's never enough, and I should make more. But then I see Elvas, our resident builder, like just how he uses that is insane. And like Hayden said, it's just greater than the sum of its parts. And the other thing that I'm really proud of is all the customization options for the Seraph.
Mm.
I
Hmm.
Yeah, when I started, we didn't have armor, and you had some clothing, but for example, the Seraph, like you only had one hairstyle. So I'm really happy that I pushed for having like different hairstyle options and skin tones, oops, and different clothing, and we'd like to add more options. But we'll see how that goes for now.
It definitely was a game changer when all of a sudden you went into a world with other people and everyone wasn't an exact clone of one another.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's made for some really awesome like in-server pictures and stuff too, because we brought a group of like 50, 60 of us together on a server
Hmm.
once. It was actually back on our original server, and we took a picture, and everyone had the different clothings on. They had different high
Oh.
hairstyles, they had different skin tones and things. It was it was really incredible, and you can see kind of the summation of that
Hmm.
work you were just talking about in a single photo, which is really neat.
I would love to see that later if you still have that.
Yeah, I'm sure we do. I'll have to get that for you. I think Sarah was in that picture too.
Oh.
So moving on to our next question. How has working on Vintage Story changed or grown your skills compared to when you first started?
Hmm. I've been drawing a lot of boxes and I've made it. I've gotten really
Lots
good
of
at making
boxes.
boxes. That specifically, and I guess gears. I've never thought I'd make so many gears and boxes. It's that's the major part of it, to be honest. I've drawn like hundreds of boxes at this point.
The expert box and gear guy.
Yeah, kinda.
Well, maybe to expand on that, what Duargra does is like he'll draw like a quote unquote normal concept, but then also with the Bowthorn and what's the other one called?
The
The
shiver.
shiver.
Hmm.
The Shiver, yeah. Like he also made like a voxelized concept for them, and like
Hmm.
that was so helpful for me.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I know what I'm trying to do, but then I think about it like, oh, hey, how do I voxelize this?
Hmm.
Mm.
That part, it's really helpful. I get to just like quickly sketch up just like a voxelized version of it because I already understand how the design looks. I like the back of my hand. It's just a matter of simplifying it and creating it into a boxy version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Something that isn't too complex or something, but also something that kind of works with was it the direction I had in mind. And it's definitely very important because if I only drew like like realistic versions of everything, it wouldn't really be too helpful in a voxel game. So definitely being able to do that, both of those things, it helps kind of get people on the same page, but also being able to execute it as well, which is a very important part, having those two skills.
Um, for me, I guess my progression is, to me, it's very obvious because if you go download the soundtrack, it's actually almost purely in chronological order. So the very first stuff I wrote is the first two tracks I wrote um, are the first two tracks in the soundtrack. And as we updated the game, I also released those in chronological order. Um, so yeah, it's been 10 years. So I go back and listen to stuff I wrote 10 years ago, and I'm like, ooh, uh, I don't like that.
No, 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 no. No, no,
all
seriously. No, the beginning stuff, even if you look, because every artist hates their work. I already know this. You are always going to look back and say, I hate it. I know I could improve it. I know where the mistakes are. But for the rest of us, don't. We seriously do. Like there's charm in even the oldest stuff, even your earliest sketches that are just on a piece of tissue paper. There's charm in all of it. So don't hate it. Don't look back and be like, this sucks. No, we all still love it. It's just a showing that growth. It makes me cry because whenever we're on a road trip, I've put on the Bitches Story soundtrack on just to have in the background. And for me, I'm just kind of like, I can hear where it is like some things might either kind of repeat or kind of like, I'm like, now I'm actually breaking the song down more. But no, don't hate your early stuff. I know it sounds really hard to say that. And as an artist, I also understand that hating your early work, but don't hate your work. We all love and appreciate every stage of it because then we can be there to enjoy it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously,
Well,
I know.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I want you guys to know that because this is technically the artist team that we have here. And I understand absolutely going like my stuff from 10 years ago sucked. No, it didn't.
At the time, I was proud of it.
Yes, at the time, and at the time, we are proud of our earliest stuff, and we go, okay, but I know what I learned from there, and I moved on from there. Mm-hmm. So please, yes, I know you guys are just like my stuff sucks. No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it
I'm
does
actually
not suck.
I'm really sad that like I don't really have that many examples of my early work. Especially I used to have when I was still in school, I would constantly doodle. And I kept all those I kept all of those notebooks, but the problem is when I immigrated to Canada, like I couldn't really justify bringing that.
No.
So by now I'm pretty sure they were burnt or thrown out, which is unfortunate, but no, well. So yeah, for me, I actually started out as a pixel artist. And the funny thing is, what I do 90% of the time right now on Vintage Story is actually 3D modeling. So I would say I improved in that a lot. Over the years, so like I also improved my pixel art skills. Like you were saying, like the 10 year things from 10 years ago, they suck, and yeah. Yeah, I actually used to do 3D modeling like way before that. But like that was just like for my own purposes, like I didn't really do it like commercially. It was the pixel art that I ended up making commissions for or with. So it was like, yeah, I had to adjust to that, and I would say I improved in that. But also one thing that I think I really improved on is communication and just working better with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's.
I guess I had one more thing to say, especially, since the soundtrack dates back to like 10 years ago, I think it is interesting to go back and listen to some of the earlier stuff because in a way, that stuff is a kind of a snapshot of where the game was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, if you go back, if you I don't know if it's even possible, it probably is. If you go back and look at screenshots of the game from 10 years ago, and then think about the music from that perspective, it was kind of like my idea of what do I want this soundtrack to be? What do I want it to feel like? And I think that definitely changed and evolved over time because the game itself changed and evolved over time. Um, I don't know how many years in it was when the first like real story stuff started dropping, and I think that that necessarily changed the soundtrack. Um, and I think as the game got more features, um, to me it started to feel more adventurous in a way, and I think uh, that started reflecting in the soundtrack. The soundtrack started to feel more adventurous because I was trying to reflect the state of the game, and then as especially more recently, the soundtrack has been more geared toward the story events. It's definitely taken on a different tone because of that. And those tracks are usually specific to the story event, so you don't experience them unless you're in the story or doing story stuff. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of cool to think that those changes are or those tracks are a snapshot in time for the game. And yeah, since the game's always evolving, the soundtrack's always evolving too. Or at least my approach to it. So I don't know. I haven't really thought about that before, but it is kind of neat.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch the growth of the game and the evolution of the game, both on the sound and on the art side. Because from when we first started, it's changed quite a bit over those years.
Mm-hmm.
And Aura Fairies run quite a few servers, of course, from there. And each time you get a new playthrough and you get to experience all these new things, new creatures, and then of course different pieces of art, and you can actually see a little bit of a different style in the some of the drawings itself in the game as it comes on. And it's been a lot of fun and very, very enjoyable. And it's incredible how deep it goes now. It was already deep to start with, like really impressive, especially once we got to the part where the seasons were at it. But it's so much deeper now than it was back then. So very impressive, great work, guys. So, what's something players might not realize about how much work goes into the visual, sound, and atmosphere of the game?
There's a lot of back and forth. There has to be a lot of back and forth, talking, discussing like almost on every feature that's added or detail, because it is important to be, in on the right in the same page, but also matching that direction. So like something as simple as like what was it? The oh God. I don't remember which feature it was specifically, but it's usually with like almost every feature, there's been a lot of discussions about it in the meetings and text, all of it. So it's nice being very thorough with that, but even for the simplest things, it's been talked to oblivion essentially. But we usually end up with something that we're generally satisfied with, but also sometimes it's like, oh, we have to kind of get this out there at least and maybe improve in the future. But in general, there's always things we could do with everything. It just takes a lot of time and effort and discussion.
I guess from a purely uh, music perspective, um, I think I think working on music can be a lot slower than a lot of people realize. I guess because it's one of those um, types of art that takes place over time. Um, so for me, like sometimes let's imagine like a 4 or 5 minute piece of music. Um, I'll have to listen to it like 2 or 3 times in a row before I decide to make just a small tweak. So that takes like 15 minutes just to make one small change. And I think that's just because for me, the context of where you are in a specific point of music really, really matters. I find that if I work on just one part of it for a long time and forget to go back and listen to how I got to that point in time. It just it there there it, well, often it just doesn't fit at all, or it just within the context there's a lot of changes that need to be made because especially if you're dealing with like a repeated section of music. um, I try not to these days at least I try not to repeat myself ever in terms of structure. Like if there's a chorus, for example, I try to make sure that the second time you hear the chorus, there's changes in the melody or the accompaniment is different or you're in a different key, stuff like that. And all of that, all of those changes need to make sense in context. Um, and yeah, it can take a really long time just to make small changes because of the fact that I try to listen and re-listen, and make small changes and then listen again. And that was especially hard on the track Radiance and Rust because that's I think it's like close to 11 minutes, and my computer could not handle it. It couldn't play back. So I have to render the track, listen to it a couple times, make the changes, and it got to the point where even rendering took too long. So I just kind of have to hope that like I couldn't listen back to the changes I was making. So I kind of have to hope that I was making the right changes. Um, and then I would make a bunch of them without listening to it and then render it out because it would take like 20 minutes to render or whatever. Um, so I just did way less listening to it. I don't know, that that track was kind of a nightmare. But anyway,
Ooh.
yeah.
No, I never really thought about for music. I would just think that you just back it up 10 seconds and listen to it again. I never thought about having to have to
Normally you
rewrite.
can do that, but my computer at that time, I mean, I've always worked on Macs for music, and historically speaking, Mac computers were pretty underpowered. That's not really the case anymore with the M series chips, but yeah, back then, like I paid a lot for that computer, and it wasn't a bad computer by any means at the time I bought it, but it just could not handle what I was trying to do.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add to the choir here, like that's the time adds up really quickly. Like Duargra said, like we have to communicate with things, and I'm always blown away by the quality of models and textures that modders do. Like not just in our own game, but like now being on the development side, I realize that like there's only so many things we can do in a given time. And also like I have so many other assets that need to be done, like on top of say like just staying sane and doing whatever like else I need to do, like IRL, like other things going on. So uh not enough hours in the day. Yeah.
It's such a big one. It really does build up.
Yeah, like what was I working on that took so long? The fish, for example, like uh the fish are actually individually like they were very quick to make, but because we have okay, I don't remember how many we have, but they're really quick individually, but like as you add up like the let's say the 30 models or whatever, like that and textures, like it takes time.
Mhm.
So that's actually kind of funny because the next question we're going into, obviously this is a bit more targeted to each of you, but I guess all of you basically answered this one in a nutshell. When you are tasked with something new, how much time do you spend on a project? Well,
Mhm.
I think you guys all pretty much covered that one like across the board because, Hayden, you were talking about the music and how you have to listen things back. And of course, Anna, you were talking about all the different textures that you have to deal with for just one creature. And, 14 models later, you're just kind of like cross-eyed,
Yep.
looking at all these different models and
Yeah.
stuff. So
I find that I can usually do like a week or two of intensely working on something before I lose my marbles. So I'll have lots of ideas and I'll just keep cranking and cranking and cranking out until I reach a point where I'm just like sick of it. I have some ideas, but I just can't handle it anymore and I need to stop.
yeah.
And then you just like have to make a preview, wrap it in a bow, and yeah, and pass it on.
Yep. It really depends on the task, honestly, because They're for something that gives me like a lot of creative freedom, like with little promotional doodles. I can usually get that, no, like the little sketches done in a single sitting, essentially. But it's always I do have to check in with the others to see if it's a direction we would like to take with it, and if that's okay. Oh, I'm basically already done at that point. Add some shading, little touches, touching up, and we're already done. But with similarly with larger tasks like the story excerpt illustrations or even enemy concepts, it is again a lot of communication, and it is really crucial when it comes to giving these projects a lot more life and personality. A huge part of that process is understanding that direction we want to take with it. So it could take a single day to even weeks overall, to be honest.
Whew. So it's a very like it sounds like for time in general, it feels like sometimes you're one and done, and then sounds like the communication and the back and forth can add significant time to a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
Then is that what I'm looking at here?
It's a marathon, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, okay. So
Honestly, sorry, yeah, I just wanted to add, like, for me, the worst ones are when I'm done with something, but now you have to like redo something. That's the worst.
yeah, okay. So this
Okay.
one's actually this question's a bit more targeted for specifically Duar,
Hmm.
because Vince's story we find that it tends to blend realism and with a very distinct style. So yes, it is still fantasy, but there's obviously a very specific like narrow theme that you're going with here. So when you're creating stuff, how do you balance the accuracy with the stylization? Do you take creative liberties at all, or how strict do you try to stay with that?
Hmm. It's I do take some creative liberties, but it's always within like not really within reason, but what's possible with the world. Like if you go too far in either direction, you kind of end up with something a little lacking. Like, oh, if I go crazy with two like insane ideas, like really pushing what's possible, then it will result in losing that direction and the whole theming of the project overall. But stressing too much on the accuracy and realism will kind of lose that whimsy and like the things that give it life, ironically. So it's why I personally spend a lot of time touching up on the game's world and lore, so I could get better at understanding what's possible and expanding it in other aspects of reality and like seeing what I could do. Um, what was it? The game already being based off of reality while also twisting it kind of it gives me a lot of fun and leeway with the concepts I do make. But overall, having that strong understanding of the world building is the key to finding that balance for me personally. And of course, talking it through, making sure that I don't stray too far, which is really nice because I get to was it study a lot on it, have some fun with it, and come up with cool ideas and basically collaborate with other people a lot of the time.
Yeah, for me, I think I generally start with the realism, especially like in the historical aspect. And yeah, I generally prefer the more fantastical elements because like I can be more creative with that. Like for example, making the Blackguard armor and the Forlorn Hope one, like they're more detailed because I felt like I had more I could like make them more interesting to look at. Whereas I feel like the existing armors, I think I was a little too rigid with it because I was making sure that they're like historical, but also that they're realistic, and I feel that they're not as good as they could be because they look a little boring.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a balancing act.
Can you
So
share
the
a concept that changed directly from like initial sketch to like what it ends up being in the game as a final asset?
so they are two big ones, right? Kind of big ones. The arrow, uh, I can't show too much at all, but I could definitely say it's like the arrow having like over 10 designs that
Oh
really
wow.
changes it, and it was a lot. But with what we ended up with, I absolutely love it, and I really love how the arrow came out specifically. But that one, a lot of a lot of concepts I made for it, a lot of designs, a lot of things, and fleshing it out. But the other one was the Bowtorn specifically because I was a little indecisive with the look of it initially. Like just trying to figure out what I could do with it. But that one, I've comparatively to the Shiver, the Bowtorn was definitely the one I like mess around with a lot more, but ended up sticking with the initial one because what was it? It came up pretty nice. At that point, I was just fleshing it out with everyone else, and it came out very nice. It's just those two were a little funny.
And we actually have a question about those specifically a little bit later. So I'll hold my little other comment for that part.
Yep,
Uh,
Mhm.
what's
I'm aware.
the what's the weirdest reference image you've ever had to Google for your job?
Mm. A lot of animal corpses.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I
Oh.
guess I never thought of that.
Yep, it's it's a big one. Yep, that.
Oh.
Can't say too much, but that's the my reference board and my Pinterest. There's a lot of not just that, just horrifying things. It's I've gotten used to the at least on Pinterest, like, oh, some scary, uncanny looking thing, but was it Animal Corpses is definitely my weirdest one.
So these questions are moving on to Anne. When working or with voxel-based modeling, what techniques do you use to keep assets detailed yet optimized?
Well, what really helps is that the game doesn't use actual voxels. Um, yeah, but uh, what I like to do is like to keep things quote unquote more optimized is just you trying to convey things with textures as much as I can. Or like using overlays with things like that. So like for example, rather than trying to make a whole shape for something, like I prefer to just using like a flat texture for that. Like for example, if you look at the rags on the Boltern, for example, you could do that with models and just like add a bunch of like bits and pieces that are 3D, but like it's just much easier to just like draw that and have that be a flat plane. But the thing is, like, we have an LOD system, so I don't actually have to worry about that much. I guess for people who don't know, LOD means level of detail. So if you're far away from something, then uh, you will see a much simplified model that doesn't take as much memory.
Well, very interesting. Yeah, if I would have actually asked what it was LV if you hadn't right there. So which vintage story model or texture did you find the most challenging to create and why?
Believe it or not, the roof models. So the Thunderlord was hard because of the sheer scale, and the SMC really doesn't like things that are too big or too small. But the roofing, it was a complete nightmare. The problem was like I had to line up everything perfectly across different rotations and variants. And with how many you have, like I'm actually to this day, I'm still fixing Z fighting issues. I think I caught like 95% of them, I hope. But I hate working on roofs. It's just, yeah, they're like recently I finally find a way to make it uh look good and not Z fight as much, but it's still, yeah. I'm not a fan of the windows.
As a builder, the roofs have definitely given me the most headache
Hmm.
by far. And not necessarily because of the texture or anything, but just more because I'm trying to figure out how to make the pieces look cohesive in the end and not just looking like a very blocky Minecraft build that always ends up happening. So
Mhm.
And Anne, I'm actually going to continue with you here. I've got a couple for you. How do you incorporate the game's lore and tone into your environment and object design?
Well, being morbid helps.
Like,
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
There's that Silent
Honestly,
Hill reference again. My goodness.
yes. But that's not all we do. Like, but honestly, having a write-up for like what's the context of an object helps a lot. Like, I mentioned the clutter models. Like, knowing where that goes and what it's supposed to do really helps. Like, okay, is this something that a player made, or was it made by someone from the old world, or like a contemporary human that helps?
Mhm.
Because we have different approaches to like what's made contemporary in the game versus like what you would find in a ruin. Like you can look at the weapon models, for example, how different the ruins access and whatnot are to the defaults. Yeah, having like some theming really helps with that, and references, lots of references.
Cool. Again, with that morbid theme that you've kind of got going there, have you ever had a model you made that ended up looking absolutely way worse than you wanted and had to fix it?
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, yes. Um, I think the worst offender is the Thunderlord. Uh, I I'm not an animator. I've always been terrible at animation, and making walk cycles for something that has tree legs is was a nightmare. Like it actually used to be way worse than it is. Like, don't get me bad. Like the animation he has right now, it's not great. That's why like it's kind of hidden like behind everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so bad. I'm really happy that we have like a dedicated animator right now because I'm just not good at. When we're done, I'll send you some gifts.
Please do. Please do.
Including like yeah, like some work in progress, and when I reach the breaking point and I just have nothing, I just broke it on purpose because I was just so sick of it.
The Thunderlord came out so well though. It's really
Mhm.
imposing. Like
Mm-hmm.
the animation is
Yeah,
really well.
It feels weird hearing him called the Thunder Lord when the community calls him Dave.
Dave.
It just no, because I absolutely knew that it was
uh-huh.
Thunderlord. I knew that, but when the community started going, it's Dave. I'm like, where did Dave come from? Like, Thunderlord
I've
sounded
gone
so
back and
cool.
I went back and searched through the Discord, um, and YouTube, and I could not find the first reference of Dave. I have no idea where it came from.
Right? I think it's gotten buried to the point where
Mhm.
nobody really knows. Like, it's like we just know. And I'm like, but how did you know? It's like, I don't know. All these people started saying it, and then it just kind of became the thing. But no,
Yeah, and
honestly, when you're
mhm.
saying he's imposing, that I think that was what the whole point was supposed to be. Like
Yes, yes, exactly.
every
Hmm.
time a storm comes up, we immediately try to get our render distance out far enough so that we can see him.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
it's just yeah, we're terrified and we're running from all the creatures and stuff, but then we're just
Hmm.
like, it's Dave.
I
And
love him safely.
it
Yeah.
really captured the imagination of
Hmm.
the community too. It became
Mhm.
such a talking point, and one of those things is like, oh, have you seen Dave? You've got to go see Dave. It's one of the
Mhm.
things that the
Mhm.
first time they see their storm, we got to show those new players
Hmm.
that. So it
Yeah,
may have
and
been a
I
lot of work
Yeah.
and frustrating, but it made a big difference.
It really did.
yeah, I really love the model. Just like I said, like the animation of the walking is just. But speaking of Dave, like we we ended like we usually also call him Dave, just like it's that ingrained that even internally, like we usually say Dave.
Yep.
Um, and actually, there was recently like a question on the Reddit, like someone was asking like the person who made it, like, are you upset that people are calling it Dave? Um, yeah, and for people who didn't see that post, like it actually did really bother me initially that people are calling it Dave because I thought it's such a cool name for it. Like, no, it's a Thunder Lord, and there's a reason why it's called that, like, right? Um, but over time, it just grew on me. Like it just that's the sheer absurdity of that is, um, yeah, like it used to bother me a lot, but not anymore. Like just it grew on me, and now like even I call it Dave. And I think even when we were concepting some of the newer creatures, like we were giving them funny names, but they didn't fit.
Dylan.
Yeah, I think Dylan was the Bowthorn.
Yep, Dylan was a Bowthorn.
And I think the Ariel was Ahmed or something. Or no.
I don't. I need to see. I need to look for it, but I
Yeah,
think like
I
almost everyone
know.
doesn't. Hmm.
Yeah, but those didn't stick as much.
Was it Bowtorn and Shiver, Errol? They're just badass names though. So
Hmm?
Thunderlord, it's really cool, but Dave is just perfect.
Yeah, and speaking of the names, actually, like as a final note, we really struggled with naming those. In the end, like we had to like internally like vote on how to name that because like
Hmm.
we actually I can talk about more of that later because like yeah because I have the questions in front of me and I know you're going to be asking about this. I can expand about it later actually. Spoiler.
Uh-oh.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and kind of scooch it over now back. Hayden, this is going to be your little set of questions here. Kind of think on the emotions or themes that guide your sound design. Well, how do you kind of walk through that process?
Yeah, I think I guess I touched on it a little bit, how the
Mm-hmm.
game has like evolved over time and how the soundtrack has evolved because of that. But definitely, it depends on the track. I know I have like different concepts in my head of different parts of the soundtrack, like the overworld. I want to feel charming and comforting and cozy. So not all of that music, but in a general sense, it's pretty uplifting, upbeat, fun, adventurous, stuff like that. And I guess it's also divided into day and night. Like the daylight music is even more cheery, and the night music tends to be more minor, but still kind of upbeat. And then definitely when you get into the story stuff, that's when it definitely takes a much darker, more somber and moody, uh, all those sorts of emotions. So I definitely try to I think of it in just like little containers, and then each track is in one of those various containers. Um, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. I don't think too. It's kind of weird, but I don't think too much about necessarily emotion when I'm writing music. It's more just about fitting a scene or fitting where in the game it's going, which I guess that is emotional, but it's not how I think of it necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so when you have to create new music, what's that process feel like to you then? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I guess it's definitely a labor of love because things don't come easily to me. It's usually, I guess the way my brain works, it's almost like I'm working with marble rather than paint, to use a metaphor. So it's like I'm desperately trying to reveal the idea that's there rather than building something up organically like you would with painting something. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
have a block of marble or like there's fog in front of me and I'm trying to reveal what's actually there. Um, uh, but yeah, I guess there's definitely with my process, there's definitely things that I tend to do, but I also know that I try to keep changing it up because the game is changing, and because I know if I do the same thing every time, everything's going to wind up sounding the same. But I usually will start by messing around with either like a piano or a guitar or something, and I'll come up with some ideas. And it's usually I'll start writing and I won't like it at all, um, and I'll keep working on it, and I still won't like it. And then eventually I hit a point where like some sort of something clicks, some inspiration hits, and I'm like, oh, this is what I'm trying to do, or this is where I'm going. And oftentimes that'll be like the third or fourth or fifth iteration of something, and then I'll scrap a lot of what's already there, and I'm like, this is the actual idea here. And then that's kind of where it actually starts. Um, but it's always like that's the hardest part every time is getting to that point. Um, and I guess another big part of my process is I'm always trying to question the decisions I'm making and the assumptions that I'm making. Because for me, I try everything is kind of an experiment when I'm making music. Like I'm doing, I try to make sure I'm always doing some challenge, I guess. Like for the 11-minute track, it was like, all right, how do I structure this 11-minute thing where there's like multiple climaxes, but like one really big one. Um, and then for the track Fall, I used what's called a whole tone scale, which is like this really alien, weird sounding thing. But I was really trying to capture what does it sound like when leaves are blowing in the wind, and like a really abstract idea. Or like how do I capture this season as sound? Um, or how do I do this really off-kilter, rhythmic, weird thing that's actually in a very common time signature? So there's a track that's in 4/4, which is almost all music is in what's called 4/4, which is just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. But then there's like this really off-kilter rhythm where you can't even tell. So yeah, everything is like experimental, and I'm trying to always do different new things and challenge myself. Um, because I'm always trying to grow as a composer, but it's always yeah, like I said, it never comes easily, unfortunately.
Well, the music's been turning out amazing, and we can
Thank
hear
you.
that. Like, we can hear the growth over time. But going back to what Raman had said before, though, the early stuff still sounds really good too.
Hmm.
Uh,
Thank you.
is there a particular track in the game that has like a fun story behind it you'd want to share?
Yeah. Um, so I guess probably most people won't know this. If you go onto the YouTube playlist, there's a pinned comment for every track where I just tried to write something about the track, some interesting story or what I was trying to do or go for. And I did that for every track in the game, and I plan on doing it as I continue adding to it. But so I was like struggle because I'd already kind of written out all the stuff that I thought of initially. So I was thinking, what's something that I didn't write there? And so what I came up with is so there's a track called Followcroft, which is based or it's like a portmanteau of Fall, Jack-o'-lantern, and the track that comes right before it, which is called Hallowcroft.
Hmm.
But that track actually started out being called Saraty's Request because Sarati for years had been asking me to base a track off of I don't even know what it was called. Um some track that she just loved, an instrumental thing that she associated with summer. And I was at that time writing seasonal music. And to me, it was just there was this synthesizer sound that she really, really liked. And I wound up designing my own synthesizer sound that I called Sarati synth, that I use now in a lot of different tracks. Um, but yeah, the idea for that track was actually it was going to be a summer track, and about halfway through writing it or something, Sarati was like, "This sounds perfect for fall," and I was like, "Okay, that's not what I was going for at all, but that'll work." Um, and so yeah, it almost wound up being called Sarati's Request, but then I came up with that portmanteau, and I was like, "That's kind of fun," so it wound up being that. But Tyron was like, "I wanted it to be called Sarati's Request in the actual game," and I was like, "Ah, yeah, that makes sense."
So what's a song that turned out way better than you expected?
Probably the track Fall, which is not to be confused with Fallcroft. There's a track called Fall that starts out with like I think piano strings and some accordion and stuff. And that's the one where I use the whole tone scale to like try to associate or try to like suggest the idea of like leaves flowing in the wind. And that track has like three different sections, and the last section is just mostly acoustic guitar, which is based on the track Spring. Um, but yeah, the basically the idea for Spring and Fall was that I was trying to represent transition because they're transitional seasons. But the track Fall, I hated. I hated it. Um, I tried so I don't know how many hours I spent on one particular transition between the first section and the second section because there's three sections in that song. But the first section is like kind of acoustic sounding instruments, and the second section is just like groovy in a way, or I don't know, you just kind of want to move your head to it. And the first section is not like that at all. Um, and the transition just did not work. It did not work, and I abandoned it. and then I came back to it like a year later, and I abandoned it again. And I may not have ever gone back to it, but Sarati was like, "I really want you to finish the fall track," and I was like, "I don't want to do that at all, but we'll try." And finally, I don't know what happened, but I worked on it for more hours. That one particular transition that just wasn't working at all. And finally, I came up with something that I was happy with. And once that clicked, I wound up adding the final section, which wasn't there at all. So it inspired me to basically add an extra 3 minutes to the track or something. And in the end, I think it turned out way better than I expected because I was expecting to abandon it completely.
Wow, that's quite the transition to go from something you're like, I don't want to touch this at all. That ends up being an awesome song. And then you add an entire 3 minute section to it too.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite the transformation. Very cool. So this is a question that's going to be thrown at the group now. Uh, whose idea was it to add Shivers and Bowtorns? Because this was, at least for me, this was a big transitionary part, more towards the like the horror feeling to it, and I guess bringing in like that Silent Hill-esque that you were going for. Uh, the Shiver has probably given me more jump scares than any other creature in the game.
I love seeing it all. I've seen so many videos. So, what was it? When 1.20 came around, I think it was like, oh, we're gonna add in like 2 new mobs or something like that, something that's ranged and I don't remember exactly, but uh when I first got into the team, what was it? My first concept, like I think like weekend or whatever, I decided to just like make a little doodle of like, oh, essentially the early stages of was it the Shiver? Not like early stages, but like for the prototype of it. And that was like a long while ago. And when 1.20 came around, it was like, oh, I might as well use this then, right? At that point. Um, so I think we decided to expand on it. But in general, I really I designed the Botarn and Shiver, and was it Anna created the models, and we all was it Ambrose did the animations, and I think Tyron did the Tyron did the sounds as well. But overall, we were like collaborating on it, trying to make it come out, uh, and it came out perfectly for me personally. But it could have been. I really wanted to make the Shiver way more dangerous. It could have been way larger. It could be so much worse, and I would love to do it because it'd be so funny.
Yeah, we specifically needed a ranged mob and like a more dangerous melee mob. So the only question was like, how are they supposed to look like? Which was that was the issue. Um, and the Shiver was kind of a funny example because it's a good lesson is like of why we should always check a model size in game before we fully commit to it.
Yep.
Because it was actually supposed to be much bigger.
Yeah, a lot bigger. You could see in one of the promotional images I've done with what was it? I could actually
yeah,
show
but
it
I
right
was
now.
I was basing the scale like on how it looked like in the editor and like looked fine to me, but then you look at it in game, it's kind of small.
It's so small looking. Let's see.
Yeah, so lessons learned. Luckily, we learned that with the arrow, and one of the early things we did, like I made a mock-up and then we just put it in game and like compared, like, okay, how big is this supposed to be?
They don't, well, the Shiver does not feel small to me when that thing's coming at me.
Okay, good.
Honestly, yeah.
I'm glad.
And when they do stand up, they are tall. Like really tall. They are large. It's just like they are kind of close to the ground. They are crawling around. So
yeah, that's why it's to me, like initially to me it felt kind of small, but yeah, if there's someone you want to blame for these two, it's me and Duargra.
Yep. And I'm not sorry.
Me neither.
And the
That being said, like whenever I check the fan arts and stories channel on the Discord, like um I get my comeuppance because like I'll see someone drawing a very realistic Shiver or Bowthorn, and I'm morbid, but holy shit, guys.
I've gotten a lot of people saying like whoever designed the Botorn, they must have had crazy dreams. Like the Botorn specifically. It's pretty grotesque.
Yeah.
It's really fun. But oh, is it that one? I think out of the two, even though the Shiver is like it is my like golden child, to be honest. I love
Mhm.
it so much. It was my first one. But the Botorn conceptually is really crazy. Like I feel like I've done well with the body horror aspect,
Hmm.
but I had to knock it out of the park with the when it comes to the variants and the models themselves. Like it could not have came out any better.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you're gonna be using like the webcams in the actual video, but like Ramgirl kept just like shaking her head at us. Um,
Yeah, she did not want them to be bigger
It
or
did not
harder.
need
No.
to be bigger. It did not need to be bigger.
It could have been bear
I
size. I'm gonna say it could have been like bear
Mhm.
size.
And the
Yeah.
Botorn is very cool too. It's a
Mhm.
very unique creature. I
Mhm.
can't really think of anything that comes out that really compares to it. And now whenever I see it, Botorn, like it screams vintage story to me too,
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
kind of the atmosphere and everything that you guys are going to. So they were very good ads. And the
Yeah.
first time encountering that, when I'm getting sniped from a distance, I'm like,
Mhm.
what is going on? What is this?
Yeah.
And then you go running to try to find it, and I was like, oh, it's these things are shooting me. What the
Yep.
what's going on?
You see like a tall, spindly looking guy. Like, what is
Mhm.
that?
So this is the duality of the player base that you have. See, he starts getting sniped from a distance and he starts looking for what's shooting him. I get
Mhm.
sniped from a distance and I'm hiding. Like, no, seriously, my first encounter with a Bowtorn was like the truest. If you want to really grasp what it feels like to be like a true horror situation where you genuinely don't know what you're going to do and you're hunkered down and you're just like,
Mhm.
I'm going to die here, because the Bowtorn does it just right. It's in the distance. Usually it's at night, so you're barely
Oh
seeing a
god.
silhouette. And then on
Mhm.
top of that, you can see the stupid arrows going by you.
Hmm.
Yep.
And the
Like there is,
loud
that's
pops.
it. That is it. If you were going to capture the actual feeling of death in a vintage story, that was it. To me, the Bowtorn is the, like, I don't get me wrong, the Shiver makes me jump and scream and cry too, but all I do is I go kite it into the water, pull out my bow, and I'm good. You can't do that with a Bowtorn.
Yeah.
With a Bowtorn, you literally have
And
to
to
face your
charge
fear
it.
with it. Yeah, and
Mhm.
that's it. I think the Bowtorn is the 10 out of 10. You guys did a
Mhm.
fantastic job with
Thank
it.
you.
Shivers still sucks, but I love the Bowtorn.
The
Yeah.
something I do like about the Botorn is I don't know if this is intentional, but the fact that you kind of have to run to it to deal with it. You
Mhm.
really have to deal with it. Otherwise it's gonna pummel you essentially. Like was it does like run away when you're getting close to it. But I feel like it really adds to it because you have to get out of your comfort zone.
You
You
do.
have to go out into the dark. You have to go for it to deal with it. What was it? And like especially in caves, like it's going deeper. I don't want to go deeper, but
Hmm. Yeah.
it's mhm.
As a player, I absolutely hate them.
Yep.
It
They,
seems like we've done our job well.
yeah, and will do worse.
Well,
Yeah,
moving
exactly.
to a not as creepy mob that's been added. So why was the elk chosen as kind of like the rideable animal versus like a horse or something else in the game?
So,
I think
mhm. Okay, go
uh
ahead. Sorry.
yeah, sure. Um I think because it was kind of a plausible like alternate reality version of a mountable creature. Um obviously vintage story goes for realism a lot, but I think it kind of is trying to present like a world that diverges from the real one, like almost a different way the world could have gone, almost, especially when it gets to the story stuff. And I think
Mhm.
that's the main reason we were just trying to, because typically the horse is the thing that everyone goes to.
Mhm.
And we're just trying to, especially when we start thinking about uh the future direction of the game, we just try to come up with things that are a little bit more unique and interesting and just different spins on things because I think that's what keeps people engaged. Like,
Mhm.
oh, there's, I don't know. It's just it's interesting when it's not just a
Mhm.
horse, I guess.
It's distinct.
Yeah, it's distinct.
Hmm.
What was it? I think I don't remember exactly, but I feel like it's just like, oh, because it's cool. Like it's kind of awesome having an elk, to be honest.
Yeah. So besides what Hayden said, like that's a big reason.
Mhm.
It's plausible. I think another reason was that like at the time we were adding a whole bunch of deer into the game.
Yep, the boats.
So yeah, so elks were just like a part of that. Uh, and also like a lot of us just watch Mononoke Hime, so like we really like
Hmm.
the elk riding in that. But if you want one person to blame, you can blame it on me because my personal, obviously it was a group decision, but a personal pet peeve for mine is like when you have a fantastical setting, like be it fantasy or sci-fi, and everyone's riding a horse.
Hmm.
You could be riding a wyvern, a bull, like you have so many options, but no, it's a horse. Like you have so many, just so yeah. I I think some people wanted it to be a horse, but I was one of the loudest people that said like, no, let's do something else. Let's do an elk. But yeah,
Let's see. I think like
group.
once it was brought up like the possibility of an elk, it was like basically unanimous at that point.
Mhm.
Let's see.
It was a really
I'm,
cool idea to
I'm
go
gonna
with an elk. It definitely gives it a whole nother feel, and of course continues to fit with kind of the theme that's going on in the game.
Well, I'm going to be a little selfish with you guys choosing the elk because I'm thrilled you chose an elk over a horse, if more for the realistic side of things,
Hmm.
because so much of vintage story is rugged terrain and it's
Mhm.
not flat lands. It's not like nice, happy open fields and stuff like that. And if you do own a horse and understand all that, a horse is miserable to take on like mountains and hills and heavy terrain. And then elk, being like, the deer family, is very comfortable going through like heavy terrain and going up and down hills and stuff and not having flat lands. So to me, the elk actually fits the theme better than the horse ever would have. But again, that's just me kind of reading more into
I
it. So
No, actually, that might have been mentioned at some point. Like that might have been one of the reasons. Um, Hayden, like, do you remember?
No, I mean, I would not be surprised if someone mentioned that. There are people on the team who know a lot about horses.
Hmm.
I don't know if they necessarily know much about elk, but yeah, there was so much said when it came to the decision to pick an elk that there's no way I'm going to remember everything that everyone said because uh, everyone likes to chime in when new
Hmm.
ideas are being discussed.
Yep,
Yeah,
especially.
yeah. So two of our team members, like Redram and Luke, they're really thorough with like the reasoning here for things and the research. So I think I remember something like that you mentioned that they're like part of it was like so they can like climb better. But I'm really scatterbrained. So, like I can't really remember.
It was a good bit ago, but
Mhm.
yeah, those are kind of like the footnotes, really.
So, with the mobs and the creatures that have now basically made their way into the game, whether it be horrifying or something a little less horrifying, if you could actually adopt one of the creatures in the game that not like something that's like domesticatable, something that you could actually just straight up tame and own for yourself, given that it wouldn't try to kill you, what would you have?
That part is really important. Oh, I hmm, I don't know what I could say about this because for me personally, the people treating like oh the little drifters and shivers and Bowtorn and all like as like little pets and all just rubs me a little the wrong way because of the kind of history about it. But I if I had to choose one, it would as crazy as it is, I would really love an arrow. I would love one. A giant robotic bird. Like, oh, I don't gotta feed it. Like, sure, I guess I had to deal with
True.
maintenance, I guess, but it can't be that hard.
Yeah, it could be pretty hard. Um, for me, it's a locust. Who doesn't
Oh,
want a giant
yes.
spider walking around following them? It's got a light bulb on it and it's got a
Yeah.
drill. Both of those are
Mhm.
super useful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you could just have it do your bidding or whatever. Have it go find you some gold. I don't know.
Well,
Go.
there's a saw blade too.
I don't want the saw blade one. That's okay.
Mm.
Now I feel basic because I just want a fox.
Well, I don't know. I think a fox is
That's
very
fair.
nice.
Yeah,
Um,
they're very cute.
does it count if it's not a creature in the game yet, but I want it to be?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
You might be revealing things. I don't know.
I think so. Okay, let's just say there's something that's actually in the game, but like it's in the game right now, but it's not a creature yet.
Mm.
Well, I don't think I'm really like spoiling anything, but yeah.
Hmm.
So it's the little mech helper, like
Oh,
the
the companion
the
bot.
box on wheels. Yeah,
Oh
that was
God.
yeah. I think we ran out of time because like there was supposed to be a companion, but we ran out of time on that.
Hmm.
Um, I'm hoping one day, but yeah, I really hope that works one day.
It is a clutter block, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
God, that
And
little guy.
I was so happy to see someone made a mod to actually make it a companion. It's like, yeah, the poor little thing is just waiting there.
Hmm. It's a the little companion bot. It would be so cute.
Hmm.
Um,
But I'll
mhm.
before I want to preface it that I've been calling it amicus, which is friend means friend in Latin.
Oh, that's cute.
Hmm.
The and I guess like if I can't deal with a giant bird guy, then I guess a little bell would be nice too.
A bell.
Hmm.
All right.
Ooh.
Perhaps a name I don't know where out of nowhere name, haven't thought about it. Maybe even Charlemagne, that's I think that's a cute name for a bell, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, sure.
Totally out of nowhere.
Teach it to wake you up in the morning. You'd never be late for work again.
Oh God.
True.
That sound literally haunts me when we go into caves. If it even remotely sounds like a bell, I am immediately like weapons out and everything. Yeah,
Really
everything.
interesting.
Yeah, bells really just instill that absolutely terrifying fear, and I love that it doesn't even
So
do damage. It's just there.
Yeah.
so fun story with that. Like, I knew that they were in the game, but my first encounter, like, I actually hate cave in the game.
Hmm.
I, I I don't like dealing with monsters. It's annoying to me, so I rarely go in caves.
Hmm.
So my first encounter was actually when we were playtesting the Resonance Archives. And then there's this one part where there's a bell. I was playtesting that, and oh, I had no idea they sounded like that. So that was absolutely horrifying. Like I'm just walking down the corridor, and just suddenly this hellish
Oh God.
ringing.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's really surprising because
Mhm.
that means he didn't like fall into any death pits essentially. Like my first encounter with the bell, like I was exploring, I was going very far down south, and
Mhm.
I accidentally fell in a death pit. Went very down. I fell down to the bottom. There was lava. It was dark. And then I started hearing a bell. I didn't know what was going on. It was terrifying.
I just got lucky, and I never really bumped into one.
That's
Like
so
I think
cute.
that I think to this day I've never seen a game bell in my playthrough. Besides, like,
Wow.
that's one specific.
That's so surprising.
Hmm
So
I'm
kind
in
of
the
a,
same category. I don't cave dive ever. I hate it. But when I finally started getting brave enough to start cave diving and I got my first bell, yeah, that was it was terrifying, and I had to learn to kind of face the fear type thing, because you can't let it sit there for hours. It's got a ton of health, and you have to eventually kill it. So I was just like, I guess I have to learn how to handle this thing.
So kind of moving on to a life lesson that many of us have to go through in the game as we figure out how things work. We have lightning that strikes our chickens now, and then we have to go and find new chickens. That's kind of the life lesson. So are we gonna have to worry about tornadoes or hurricanes coming in and sweeping our chickens and sending them into another dimension or something?
Um,
Yeah, I wouldn't guess that chicken vortexes are an impossibility, but I personally don't know.
I don't think we're willing to do anything that's like going to destroy builds at all, right? Like I don't think that's stuff we're planning on doing at all because it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty against, like, we're against destroying people's houses, but
Mhm.
it would be nice to, like, have some more natural disasters or something.
Mhm.
So probably not anytime soon.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've lost a couple of our early builds to fire spread before.
Oh,
Uh,
well,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's
Wasn't a
preventable.
kiln accident though.
Oh, it's
Oh
always
yeah,
it's
it's
always
all
all-
sad.
those learning experiences.
It's only preventable if your builder understands that fire spread exists. Lost half of a farm before I realized that the pit kilns were spreading into the farm.
Oh
Yay!
no.
It was great.
Yeah, Tyron is okay with those because that's a life lesson.
Yep.
Oh no, I agree. I just didn't know, and that was a very hard lesson to learn.
Yep. Once it happens once, it's gonna be hard to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, once you learn it, you're good usually. You don't have to
Yep.
worry about it. But
Traumatized, but
it can be, especially if you're
Yes.
far enough in. Like if lightning were to strike like a roof on a more advanced building, like whoop,
Mhm.
Hmm
if it's made out of wood. But then you learn, oh, so maybe I shouldn't do the roof out of wood, or,
I think
or do
there
it out
is
of chisel
a
instead.
We do have lightning rods.
yeah, there is a lightning
Oh
rod.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
we
got
make
that
them
now.
now.
We make
We
them
make them
now.
now. All the time.
Yep.
Every time.
Very early, immediately.
It's just as important as a saw.
Yes.
So if Vintage Story was a cooking show, what in-game food would you think deserves its own episode for cooking?
Ah,
I
man.
hear a lot of players say that they really like watching the bread rise. I feel like
Hmm.
there could just be like a dedicated falling asleep YouTube channel, falling asleep to watching Vintage Story bread rise.
Yeah, a bakery and all. Ugh, that's so nice. Um, oh man. Like whenever I think of something that's like just vintage story, specifically a dish, I think it's just like all red meat stew. Just that. It's that's like the staple I think of, like everyone does it. It's really good. What is it? Even though it should definitely have some cabbages, but either way, uh I think that's like the one I would choose. Either that or vintage beef, I guess.
Uh, I'm all about that hefty death fats too.
Oh, I was thinking about that too. The death caps.
Although we do have certain other exotic mushrooms coming up that Tyron shared in the devlog, so
Oh my
that'll
God,
be
that's
interesting.
right.
I think the death caps are another life lesson, and not necessarily because they somebody picks them up and just eats them. It's more that
Mhm.
they're too trusting of the person who made the stew for them.
Yep.
Yeah, I do wish that it wouldn't actually show you, like, that you're gonna lose health if you well, sorry. I really wish it didn't show you that you're gonna that they're poisonous. I wish
Hmm.
that people would learn that, hey, maybe not all mushrooms are edible.
That's a big one. And also
Mhm.
how similar the field mushrooms and death caps look.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
When it comes to the cooking, it is really neat how you can put so many different ingredients together to make so many different things. And then, of course, the bread rising is one thing, and then the cooking of like pies is another big one that people really like. And you have to watch them, make sure they don't burn and all that. There's been a lot of details and things that makes the world a lot more immersive and gives people a lot of ways to be creative other than just building, for instance. So, what's the strangest bug you guys have ever seen during development that players never got to see, that didn't get out there? You caught it beforehand.
So this is a kind of funny one, right? Um, and I do have a picture of it. Let's see. Let me just show it somewhere. But basically, when Tobias and the traders, all that stuff were kind of were put in the game initially, I think the models were like it became an amalgamation. It looked terrifying. It looked weird, strange. I don't know. But was it it was really funny seeing, and I decided to make a little concept design out of it, but it's I'll just show it here, and it looked like that.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep.
Oh wow, yeah, that's crazy. Well,
Exactly.
yeah, I can put that into the video if you're willing.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I had to make sure.
Okay, I thought the question was more about like the things that made it into the live version. Uh, so my favorite bug that I remember is actually one that's live in 121 right now.
Mm.
Uh, did you know you can put wolf pops in barrels? Try it.
Wolf
You
pups
can
and
you can do
bear.
what?
You
Wait,
can put
What?
wolf pops into inside
Oh,
barrels.
wait, does this involve like the little texture inside of the barrel when you put it in?
Yes.
Oh
Yep.
my
Yep.
God, I never thought of that.
Mhm.
Well, new experiment that we gotta go to do now.
yeah.
I gotta do that
We just got an
immediately.
Easter egg.
So
Mhm.
wait, what do I have to do? I have to put a wolf pup into a barrel?
Yeah,
Yes.
like you can buy them from traders, right?
Yeah, we have one nearby we can buy from right now. So buy a wolf.
Buy a wolf, put it in a barrel, and look down.
Oh
Look,
God.
look, gaze into the barrel.
Wait, does that mean it also involves like all the other like spawning creature things like what was it? Bear,
I haven't tried it yet because like that one you can do on survival.
mhm. Oh,
Uh,
true.
I think hypothetically, like it should work for anything right now, but okay, well now I gotta try it, but I'll do that later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, I never thought of that. It's so
Yeah, it's really
funny.
funny. I know the one I immediately think of definitely has been in the game that people saw. It's really hard to even know what bugs never made it to public just because oftentimes you can think a bug is fixed and then there's just some other way that it happens. But I've always loved the one where the seraph like dies and then you go into third person or whatever and you're still dead in like the dead laying there animation, but you can walk
Mm.
around. I
Oh
don't know if y'all have ever seen it, but
wow.
it looks so funny. The first time I saw that, I was like crying. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if anyone's ever uploaded it to YouTube or something. I'm pretty
Mm.
sure it's fixed now, but yeah, rarely when you died, there was just a small chance that
No, no, it still
you would just
happens.
be
It still
stuck
happens.
that, oh, it still happens?
Hmm.
I don't know what causes it. But yeah, it's really funny.
Oh God. I just remembered about another one. Like the uh the animation of riding elks, but like without the elk, the model's just like there. I forgot about that one, but that's oh God, I need to I'm pretty sure it was shown before, but I don't remember how it's done. That was something that's been fixed, but it is
For
so
me, it happened
goofy.
when I alt tabbed out and got back into the, or no, I'm thinking of Elden Ring actually. In Elden Ring, when I alt tabbed out, the horse would vanish.
Oh God. those are the on the mod for Adventure Story. It looks like they're just throwing it back, and it's like it's so funny seeing it. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. I
Hmm.
can actually kind of imagine what you're saying there
Yep.
without the elk being there, throwing it back. Yeah. You're at a
Hmm.
club. Vintage is now in a club. Just put a good early 2000s song behind it
Okay.
and you're there. So, obviously with Vintage, yes, the development team, you guys have been great, but there's also been a lot of community input that's made its way
Mhm.
into the game too. So I know some mods eventually became base game type features later on because, it was a feature that got explored. But is there any mods more recently that have surprised you with creativity or ambition that, something you just thought
Hmm.
that's really cool and out of the box or
Hmm.
Oh, there's
I
so
don't
many.
There, there
I
is a
don't
good
deal
bit.
or I don't mod the game at all, but I think I'm just amazed by the creativity of the community at large. Like I can't believe how many mods there are.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
especially going back like thinking about a time when there were zero, and now there's so many and they're so popular. And I can't remember the last time I can't remember what the number was, but the last time I heard how many mod downloads there have been, it's just insane. Just
Hmm.
yeah, how many there are and how many people love and enjoy them. Just the entire community has shocked me with how creative they are.
Hmm. Let's see.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Uh, you could go.
Yeah, there's so many for me. Like I like to play my game modded. I yeah. One that stands out a lot is Tent Architect's creature mods. Like
Hmm.
they were so good that like if I remember correctly, we hired him to do the deer.
Yep.
I think those are his model or theirs, I guess.
Something like
More
that.
recently, Salty Waters movement mods have blown my mind, and I really
Hmm.
want it in vanilla.
Agreed. Um, there's oh God, that one oh, what is that guy's username? Where let's see. The Temporal Storm Symphony or whatever.
I think
I
that's
don't
also Salty Water.
Yeah, I think it was a Salty Water. Wait, Salty Water in general. Insane modder. I love that guy. But there is one specific one that has my heart. Okay. And it's the primitive technology mod. It's not primitive survival. It's primitive technology by Windows 98. And I'm obsessed with it. I don't use it, but I love it. I would just, I'm just going to show it right now over there. It's amazing. In the Discord, it's based on the Primitive Technology channel. The guy who does it at
Oh,
all.
it's
It is
actually the
so
guy.
Wait.
exactly.
Like the guy that does everything with like mud and
Yep.
thatch and oh wow.
Yep.
Oh,
In the game,
Oh.
it's so funny. I
Oh wow,
love
it's
it.
actually yeah. Goofy looking. That's cool.
Has his little
It's
structure. He
very
has his own
funny.
little thing. Like it's amazing, and I don't think any mod could top that for me. It has my heart, but there are a lot of amazing mods overall, though.
Yeah, the modding community in Vintage is absolutely incredible. And it's gotten to the point now that every time it comes time for a new Aura Fury server, it's extremely difficult to decide which ones to put in. And even when we do polls, we get so many suggestions
Hmm.
and we get like complete like opposite answers of like, yeah, we want these, but we don't want these. And so, okay, well, what do we do now?
Yep.
But it really does add a lot to the game and can give you a different experience every time, on top of the fact that Vintage Story is coming out with new content
Yep.
every few many
Mm-hmm.
months too.
I think that's like my favorite thing about the modding community in general, because it's not like, oh, it's just adding new things that completely changes the direction of the game. It's completely expanding on what's already there and adding another depth that hasn't been added or anything. Like it's really interesting because like at least comparing it to other games like was it Skyrim or Minecraft, the two largest ones, it's usually mods that completely changes up the game entirely.
Hmm.
Or at least the mod lists that people go for. And with the vintage story, it feels like almost all the time it's like, oh, expanding on cooking or expanding on harvesting and survival things, actually adding fishing, which is already there, but also it's like it's it's really nice because it shows that there is a deep appreciation for the game as it is as a foundation, and it's really strong. It's it's amazing.
Can you think of something specific that the community came up with to add that you wouldn't have thought of? Like, I get that it's adding
Hmm.
on to mostly what's already there, but has there ever been like something thrown in there that just was like, huh, wouldn't have thought to add that?
That is hard because we always think about vintage story anyway. Like we have so many ideas, a lot of considerations, a lot of things we've like thought about. And whenever like requests come about, like giving ideas, whether it's for mob ideas or features and all that stuff, it's like 20 like what was it out of every 20, 20 or 30 suggestions, it's like we usually think of it already, like almost every single time. It's hard to pick out exactly which ones because it's so far and few between, like which ones that actually like, oh, I never really thought about that because there's just been so many we've already considered and seen, and I I don't know which exactly would be one, but if I had to choose, it would definitely be the ones that's from expanded culinary or foods or something like that. Culinary artillery, like all the little tools, the things, and all. I absolutely would love that, especially.
For me, yeah, I usually often it's not things that I didn't really think about that uh how to say that. It's things that I thought about, but like kind of seeing people suggest it makes me like want to prioritize that. Um, for example, I recently we had like a new batch of hairs,
Mhm.
and that was actually spurred by I saw a fan art. I'll try to find it later if I don't forget. Basically, one person was lamenting that like they can't have curly hair like they have in real life, and that made me think like, oh, yeah, we kind of don't have that. So
Mhm.
I finally figured out a way to make curly hair or more voluminous hair. So like that's led to that. Um, yeah, another time I people on the Discord, I think, like they were lamenting that there's not enough feminine or female coded clothing. And yeah, and like they felt not great about that. The reason for that was practical because we couldn't figure out a way to do like flowing clothes or like skirts very well.
Yeah.
So I was just aiming for the unisex, but like yeah, I tried to make a push to actually do some like more feminine coded clothing that hopefully will make it in the game at some point.
Mhm.
Another blind spot for me was like uh facial hair, although admittedly they didn't come from the community that came from Redram, like uh because I just focused on hair and then like oh yeah, facial hair exists. uh yeah, but one thing that I actually added very specifically because I just didn't think about was eyeglasses as an accessory. Because it just didn't occur to me. And then I saw someone like made like a fan art of their character with glasses, and I was like, oh, huh, yeah, those existed.
Yep.
Which is funny because I wear glasses in person.
So, oh, we all have four eyes, man. I have glasses. Aiden has glasses.
Hmm.
Just one of us doesn't have it.
Uh, Contacts.
Oh,
So
I'm
There
too
you
old
go.
for this, so
I'm
I
in
can't do that.
I'm in
Yeah,
the
she's just as
4-eye
blind.
community. 4i community just hidden.
Oh, it's just more low-key. I see. Does not want to associate with us.
I don't blame her. I mean,
I've been without glasses for so long that I don't even know what I would look like with glasses at this point. So, though you should consider a monocle in vintage.
oh yeah.
Do a
I'm surprised
monocle.
there
Get us
hasn't
a
been.
monocle. I would
Then you're
love a
so
monocle.
distinguished.
You are. And then you can have, and then and then you could like do like your like if you were a clockmaker or if you were like the merchant, you could really like lean into that big time if you wanted to.
There's a top
Honestly,
hat too, right?
Yeah, I actually really wanted to make a monocle. Well, guess I have to now.
Well, there it is.
Okay, adding that. Yeah, I wanted to make a monocle, but that felt like that's not period appropriate. But then we do have the top hat, so who cares?
Yeah, it'd be cool either way.
Mm-hmm. Hayden, you got anything?
Not personally. I know that this is probably especially true of earlier on in the development. I mean, it's still true now for sure, but I know Tyron and Sarti are both really good about listening to the community in general and talking with them. And I don't even know how many changes early on came from basically player feedback and getting ideas from players. So I know it's kind of always there that changes are made based on like what players are saying and how they're feeling about the game and things like that. But I've never personally, yeah, I guess I haven't really like, especially thinking about the music, I haven't really seen people make requests for the music much. The most common request I get is just to put the music on Spotify, which I'm still figuring out how exactly I would do that. But yeah, it's on my agenda. I'm just not sure because the main problem is that the soundtrack's not done, and Spotify really wants you to have like a finalized album release.
Oh,
I've thought about
Oh.
I've thought about there are multiple ways I could approach it, and I just haven't decided on one yet. But yeah, it's definitely something I need to get going eventually, or sooner than later, I guess.
But you can buy it on Bandcamp right now.
Yeah, it's free. If
Could be
you
free.
can pay what you want.
Oh, it was? Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's free.
Okay, I forgot.
Would absolutely suggest at least give me a little bit of money. It would be good.
I don't mind. Like if I want people to enjoy the music, so if they don't want to pay anything and they just want to listen, I'm happy with that.
At least $20.
Well, if you pay $20, it comes with a free game.
True. Or wait, yeah. True.
You're not buying a game, you're buying the soundtrack. The game comes free with the soundtrack. I think we'll go ahead and skip that last one. So go ahead, honey. I guess you can take those last few.
So what's the silliest request you've ever gotten from a player or the community?
Silliest request. There has definitely been a lot of requests, but
So many requests.
one that always stuck with me, and I wasn't engaged with the conversation, but it was really funny seeing, like, I think this was a few years ago or something, but like it was adding more MMO features. Like, I don't remember exactly what it was. It was like, oh, a hub world where everyone's at. And like it's really out there questions or like suggestions that I was just a little baffled, but it stuck with me. It was so funny seeing. And it'd be so interesting. But of course it's not the direction of the game, but the fact that it was so insistent on the MMO aspect, I was just really entertained.
Yeah, I think there are requests that probably come from, I guess, the younger parts of our audience that they're not necessarily, they're just thinking about a cool feature and not necessarily thinking about it in context. There are definitely a lot of those where it's like, that's a fun idea, but like it doesn't work at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, tuxedo drifters though are pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
Tuxedo
Speaking of distinguished,
Mhm.
you add the monocle in there for him too.
Oh,
Sure.
gee. You dress him up, put a top hat on him. Oh my goodness.
Perfect.
Hmm. All
Yeah, I could
right.
do that as
Well,
a statue in my build. That'd look good.
so
So
from
go for
oh,
it.
nope, those are yours. Go ahead. I'm reading them like they were mine. Go ahead.
What advice would each of you give to aspiring artists or modelers or composers who dream of working in the indie game development arena?
Hmm. Who would like to start off with that?
I guess I can.
Hmm.
Um, I think let's see. So it's kind of weird, especially in the indie field, because everyone kind of takes a different path, and you kind of have to go out there and write your own story. Um, but I guess some key things are just like obviously work hard. But I think if you lead with a good attitude and put your heart in what you do, people are going to see that.
Hmm.
Um, and also, I think something that sometimes people are afraid to do in this space, especially because there's a lot of introverted people and shy people, don't be afraid to lean on others and
Hmm.
get help when you need it. Uh, there's so many good people and communities in this world that you can join and basically just get so much information and so many, uh, just so much good advice that it's just out there if you've put yourself in the right community, especially if you self-select for like smaller communities that are trying to do something really niche. I know that anytime I've wanted to learn a skill, basically I've just either gone to Reddit or Discord and found a small subset of people who are just really good at that thing. And a lot of them just love to talk about the thing that they're really good at, and they love sharing their information and their knowledge. And I've done that for so many skills now. It's how I learned to program. That's how I learned more about music. That's how I learned about even some carpentry stuff. So
Hmm.
um, basically, yeah, just go out there, talk to people, um, and yeah, people just share stuff. It's this is something you can definitely make happen. But like I said, I think lean on people and don't be afraid to carve your own path because my story is very tied within vintage stories, so it's hard for me to generalize that advice because it's so specific, but I've worked on other games before, and this is just the one that I made work for myself, and it's like my main focus now as far as music goes. So yeah, it's kind of hard to like give general advice when I only know the path I chose. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think so. So for me, the advice is just like forge your own path. Don't be afraid to do it, but definitely lean on people, take advice, find a community, and make sure you're just among like-minded people who are also trying to figure it out with you.
Yep. A great environment inspires people. Artists always inspire other artists, really. Let's see. Um, the one something I always say, and like my general advice is always be curious, like ask questions, like go out there and like what Hayden said, like yeah, ask questions, talk to people, like all it helps you. It allows you to open your mind a bit more, being more open-minded, get exposed to new things, and like try get inspiration from that, and embracing the ambiguous nature that art is. Like as a whole, you don't know everything, but finding joy and learning and getting exposed to things that you don't know, it goes a long way, especially when it comes to learning illustrative things like composition, anatomy, was it technique and all. These things don't just happen out of nowhere, but something that will help you a lot more and make the journey a lot more easier is being curious and going for it, things that you don't know, and having fun with learning, essentially.
And my advice would be simply to start out with modding. Um, I think that's the best way to learn how to make like game-oriented work, especially. And you know, you don't have to start in a paid project. Like you can there's like so many places where like you can just like meet people and like try to do something together, like HIO or TAG forums, where like you can just join people and like, hey, let's try doing something together. But yeah, like my suggestion is like try modding first.
Mhm.
That's how I started out initially. Like there was Morrowind and Mountain Blade way back. Um, yeah, and then it's kind of funny because I actually started out with textures and 3D models, so I kind of went full circle on that. Uh, yeah, then later I specialized. Well, I started doing pixel art for Minecraft and kind of specialized in that. And yeah, now I wandered into a Discord and got a job.
Sounds really familiar.
So, is there anything you'd like to share about the future direction of the game? I know you have a lot of limits here, so whatever you'd like to say on that one.
Hmm. It is a really hard one. There's
Yeah, I think all I can say is we're planning many stuff and things.
I'm excited for the future.
Yeah, it's all very exciting even to us.
hmm
But yeah, I don't think we're not allowed to say much of anything, which
Yeah.
is I'm sure very disappointing.
Mhm.
Well,
No, completely
devlog,
understandable.
there's a lot of cool things in devlog, and the fishing thing, I cannot be more excited. I crave for it.
I think the community's been craving it too, since a lot of mods have come
Mhm.
out specifically for the fishing aspect. So
hmm
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I'll
I'm
just
so
say,
glad.
sorry, I'll just say like we know it takes a long time for these updates to come out. Like it bothers us too.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I
But I'm
think just
definitely ex
I think just
but I'm
saying
definitely
stuffing
excited for
things
sorry.
works just fine for us too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely excited for future.
Well, all right. Well, we've reached the end of our questions. I wanted to give you all a chance to kind of shout out any of your socials and, of course, Vintage Story itself's
Mhm.
socials and websites.
Well, I have like the list of that. So I guess I can start it. Uh, if anyone's interested, I do have a DeviantArt page that I basically abandoned now. So if you're curious about like where I started, you can go check that out. Just type in Balduranne, that should show up. I actually work on two other games. One that's like currently early access, and it's called Nimrods. I've made most of the guns in that one and a lot of the icons. And also a game called Pick Crafter, which is a mobile idle type game. And that's actually where I get to do more pixel art specifically. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Oh, that's really interesting. Um, hmm. I I have way less than that. It's I know you could find my Instagram, I guess. You just go to, the Vintage Story website about or whatever, and you can just see me. I guess my Instagram, same thing, DuarArts, and I never post there anyway. Most of my art shows up on the Vintage Story account anyway, so it's unfortunately that's all. But I do work with I do spend time with other people. I help make some concept art for little projects here and there. From time to time, I do some freelancing stuff. What was it? I've done a few thumbnails so far for creators and all, and just kind of that. I'm around. It's but most of my stuff is on Instagram or no, not Instagram, on the Vintage Story stuff. But actually, that reminded me, I do have a little YouTube channel, and I have a animation out there now. It's one I've had for a long while, and I think it was like while we were still uh, developing 1.20. And let's see, let me actually put it here. It's the same thing, DuarArts on YouTube, and you can see a little funny video on there. I might do some more animation things that's from time to time, but yeah.
Awesome.
As for me, yeah, I don't really have social media at all. You can download the soundtrack for free on Bandcamp. Um, I also upload it to YouTube if you want to stream it. Hopefully Spotify to come eventually. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Did you want to share the Vintage Story websites?
That's
The
Wait,
Wait, so
vintagestory.at.
yeah. So
If
yeah,
you want to
sure.
buy the game. Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, that's right.
apparently there's a
Yeah.
game you can buy or something.
Yeah, some
Yeah,
game or
some
whatever.
Yeah, you can get on their website. Is it still on Humble Bundle?
Oh.
no, not anymore. Wait,
Okay.
no, sorry.
No, it's a
Humble,
itch to
humble,
buy.
yes.
Yeah,
The other one.
Yes.
It's not an
Yeah, I
itch
think it
anymore.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, it is on Humble Bundle, but not on itch.io anymore.
Hmm.
Mm.
Awesome. Well, real quick, just sharing some things that are coming in Aura Fury for our viewers. We will be joining in Legends Fest in Lake Jackson, Texas. We are actually partnering and helped with that. We are in communications with Luke at with Vintage Story too, on
Ooh.
possibility of having some of you guys on for a panel, most likely virtual over there. And we will be launching a Vintage Story server for the LAN party that's going to happen at the event. So a whole bunch of people are going to get introduced to Vintage Story at that convention. So it'll be really cool. And of course, as always, you can demo the game probably at the Aura Fury booth that will be there if you've never played it before. So good place to come for that. And that is March 20th and 21st in 2026. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This was an awesome and very, very informative episode. It was a lot of fun chatting with you all.
Always.
And we're very happy you also returned, Hayden. It was a lot of fun having you on last time.
Mhm.
But we're very happy to
Yeah, it's
have
always
Balduranne
super
and
fun.
this time.
Oof,
All right,
Anytime.
thank y'all.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And
Yeah,
thank you
see
all
ya.
for coming. And I hope you all have a great one. See you.
You too.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.